everyone. Good evening, and I want to say good evening to our guests sitting, waiting patiently for us to get specific to them, the Talberts.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes. So, whole person prosperity is just what it says. It takes into account the well-being of the entire individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your financial success is only a representative of what is happening internally. Your health is a representative of what's happening internally.
Mm-hmm.
Your physical presentation. It's not hard to miss someone who's fit, right? If someone is living a fit lifestyle, it is very simplistic to see or easy to see that on them in their presentation. If a person says that they're financially able to tell you how to get, higher money, they better be working with some resources of their own. Otherwise, they can't really share with you what it is they say they can share with you. So whole person prosperity teaches a person how to align powerful mind, powerful body for an increased energy to get done what it is they're trying to get done. And we partnered here with the Matthews Group to give a holistic approach to wellness and well-being. And in a nutshell, I think that's my 2 seconds of sharing, but this is where we all need to be moving to. What good is it to gain great wealth and you got to spend it on your health? So it's the balance of the major areas of life. Health, relationships, finances, and your vertical alignment, your alignment with the divine.
So we take the following position as we speak whole person prosperity into everyone's lives, the Tolberts, and we say the following, that we will enable you to lift your mind and your body energy so that you can acquire the quantity and quality of mental, physical, relationship, and financial prosperity you desire. Because as your mind becomes a more attractive, powerful force, as your body becomes a more powerful, attracting force, your magnetism will attract things to you. You all see what happens when you put a magnet before metal. It draws it in. So what Ms. Scott has shared with us and what we have launched in this state is a conceptual and a substantive framework that says you can make your mind powerful enough to attract like-minded people. You can make your body attract like-minded people. So your mind and body can generate the kind of energy that will attract to you what you want. And I know the two of you are already doing that. So I'm preaching to the choir now. And I'm going to give it back to Ms. Scott to ask you a few questions so that we can better learn how our audience can support you and make your business more prosperous in every way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, welcome, Tallbirds.
Thank
we
you.
Have, I'm going to start by asking you some very direct questions and just answer them how you'd like to share with our audience.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
So what are your names? Let's start there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Mamie Talbert,
And I'm Willie Talbert.
Right. And we are the Talberts.
and we are the Talberts.
Yeah.
And we've been married for this June will be 42 years.
Oh my goodness!
God bless you.
God bless you. What an example,
Oh,
boy!
thank you.
That's wonderful. And so, the name of your business?
Yeah, we're called Favor Management Group, and we formed this as a LLC as a result of consulting with individuals, sharing some of the same principles that you conveyed earlier on your program, because we believe that the book that you referenced in the Bible says, I bless the labor of your hands, that whatsoever you doeth, it shall prosper. And by that, what it means is that when we're fortunate to work on a job, whether it's 8 to 11 or 12 to 7, 3 to 12, whatever, we're really recipients of someone else's hands being blessed. But when we own our own, when we're business owners, small business owners, or mega company owners, then our hands become blessed, and we allocate and distribute hours that we want someone else to help build our vision. And the same thing goes when we work for someone else. We're recipients where they allocate 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week, and benefit us with some extra overtime. It's still building their vision.
That's wonderful. Well, you kind of went into a little bit of my next question, and that is the unique value that your business offers.
Exactly. And appreciate that question. So, and I'll ask my wife to sort of chime in as well.
Okay.
But what we do, we focus a lot on helping small business owners. We focus on helping small business owners, and because a lot of times we believe that the small business owner is the economic engine of this country. Sometimes they're the most underserved, but they're yet the hardest worker. So what we do, we develop relationships with certain companies and vendors that enable us to become a conduit and a resource to those particular small business owners, because what we find is that small business owners, I don't care if it's a plumber, if a beautician, is a limousine driver, Uber driver, their focus is mainly into their business, and sometimes they're not aware of the resources that are around them. So my wife and I, we formed this company that we be able to provide those type of resources and bring an awareness through education. It's not even just about selling, but it's about educating and informing individual, because Cy Sims stated, the educated consumer is my best customer.
Right, and also in addition to the small business people or people that have their own business already started, we also look to help empower those that have a dream. They have a vision, they have a goal, and they've always wanted to be entrepreneurs or own their own business. And so one of the things that we do is we encourage them to move forward in it, so that it's more than just a dream, but it's a dream fulfilled. And so we do workshops, seminars, different things that we provide to them, tools. As my husband said, we educate, we inform, we train, we do whatever we need to do. We are also certified life coaches, and so we provide a lot of different things that they need just to help to encourage and empower them. Because you said something key earlier, you talked about balance. And the thing that I've always believed is that God wants us to be balanced in every area of our lives. Sometimes people focus on one area, but they don't focus on the other. They focus on the spiritual, but they don't focus on being entrepreneurs or having that more than enough. Because the Bible talks about us living and living more abundantly. Not just living, but living more abundantly. And so, and that's what he did. And the thing is that people don't understand and don't realize that God really does want us to have the more. They talk about that what is it? The wealth of the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. Well, it's time to take it off laid up. It's time for us to start using it. Yeah. And so we try to help connect and provide those resources to help connect so that they can walk into that.
What a power-filled couple. You guys are so dynamic. That's wonderful. So listen, let's get to it. What's a great referral for your company?
Well, actually, a great referral for us is any individual or small business owner. We define a small business owner as anyone that has 100 employees or less. It's not that we can't serve the other companies, but we put a lot of emphasis on the mom pops, on those family-owned businesses to make certain that they can continue their legacy and going into perpetuity for the generations that's behind them, because the ones before them laid the foundation.
Right.
That's right. Excellent. And so you're offering. Usually, we like to ask our guests if they have a special offering or discount for our listeners. And so I want to put that to you, or if there's more information you think our listeners should know about very specifically.
Well, a lot of times, and that's a real potent question. and that can go a lot of ways, because sometimes just to be able to sit down with someone who understands your business, and the way we do this is because we don't have no cookie cutter, because every individual is different.
Right.
So we want
Right.
to do a needs assessment to
Right.
evaluate, to find out how can we best serve that individual,
Right.
because we have access to a lot of resources, but it doesn't make any sense to dump on a person's plate and they're allergic to the overflow.
That's right. They
And
can't
all-
manage the overflow. Yes.
Right, and also there are opportunities depending on the situation where we can provide free workshops and seminars to help and to empower even the community, because we've done that quite often as well.
Okay. Okay.
Because some of the concerns are, like, for instance, if there's an area that our firm does not provide, such we're not accountants, we're not attorneys,
Right.
but we have access to attorneys who specialize in every area of law. We also have access to financial resources where someone may need loans to build their business, or someone may need employee benefits but are not certain where to shop. So we could become that conduit to provide them with the contacts. What that's not in our office, but we have relationships that bring. And once you're in a relationship with us, we bring it all to the table.
So
That's
you
right.
are an entrepreneur success hub.
That's
That
a good
sounds
way
good.
to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good way
There
to
you
put it.
go.
That's a good way to put it. Yes.
All right. So listen, I know that our viewers and audience want to find out how to get in touch with you. Please share with us your contact information, and don't leave out your social media contact as well.
Most certainly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our direct number, and because we're on this program, we're going to provide our direct number to your audience, and that's 973-277-1752. Again, 973-277-1752. And one of the resources that we will provide is a resource information website, and they can go to www.wearelegalshield.com. Let me back that up, because I'm looking at my wife and I'm feeling her without looking at me. It's www.wtolbert.
Right.
.wearelegalshield.com. And you can also email us at wtolbert@legalshieldassociate.com.
All right. All right. Tolberts, Mr. Matthews.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, for this year, 2018, we are encouraging all of our guests to live their dream in 18. If you had your dream outcome for your business, Mrs. Tolbert first and then Willie second, what would your dream outcome be?
That's a good question. My dream outcome would be being successful in empowering as many people as I could, because one of the things that we do is we provide services that help keep people from being taken advantage of. That's very important to me, and because I really do have a passion for that, because I've seen so many people being taken advantage of. And so that would be one of the outcomes that I would like to see, is to empower more people. Also, another outcome that I would like to see is to make sure that the legacy that we're building for our children, our grandchildren, is, I'd like to make sure and actually see it tangible. And really visible, so that I know that we're successful in our efforts as far as providing that legacy for our family.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes.
Willie?
Well, actually, I just ditto what my wife had stated, and if I would add, is she stated want to help, and sometime, and I felt your question earlier, getting more focused in. Well, one of the areas that we do, we help individuals protect their identity, because right now people are filing other folks' taxes. They're doing frivolous things in the name of individuals, cut and paste. I mean, how many, we're on Facebook Live now, how many times have someone received a Facebook request from not the originator, but someone who compromised their information? So we want to provide those type of resources, type of education, and how can not only my business, because you work hard 10 years, 20 years building your practice, and then someone goes behind and then compromise your information, and there you go, everything is down the drain. So we want to make sure that that small business owner, the individual, whether you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, will have all the resources in place to make sure that you're not a helpless victim in the event that something like that occurs.
Well, at the most recent World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, they said that the most fearful terrorist on the planet now is not someone even with a nuclear weapon, but someone with a high-powered laptop.
Yes.
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 Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
Take advantage. That's right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to that point, we've heard of universities, their whole database has been breached. We've heard of municipalities, their database has been breached. We've heard of countries, their database has been breached. So no one can avoid identity theft, but you can prevent from being a helpless victim.
Exactly.
That's right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
What's your number one more time for our audience? Just the number.
Sure.
973-277-1752. That's 973-277-1752.
All right.
As we move to the second segment, I want to thank both of you, not just for being great public servants, but for also being great stewards. As Dr. King says, if you want to be great, all right, you must first serve. Right?
Yes.
So you don't have to have a physics degree to serve. You
That's
don't
right.
have to have a finance degree to serve.
Correct.
You don't have to have a political science degree or a law degree to serve.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, from a desire in our heart to be a blessing to others, can serve.
That's right.
And I can tell that the two of you are servantpreneurs
Mm-hmm.
and servant leaders, and we thank you for coming. Please hang around outside in the reception area so that we can do a group shot. Audience, you will be hearing from Mr. and Mrs. Tolbert again, and we will share their contact information with you over and over again as we launch our directory, which we're going to talk in more detail about with our next guest from 4E News, which is the Fourth Estate News. We're going to be launching a joint directory for the entire state so that you can go to one place, so that we'll say, before you buy, go to the directory and identify someone who is in your community so that you can help circulate this $452 billion that the African American community right here in the Garden State has. Think about that. We have $452 billion to spend. If we spent 10% of it with ourselves, we'd have $45 billion to make Camden look better, Newark look better, Jersey City look better, Trenton look better, right? So this directory is going to serve as a focus point on our platform of empowerment and enrichment. Welcome to the second segment of the broadcast. We are joined today by, let's say, the Dean of African American Journalists in the state of New Jersey, the one and the only, Miss Leslie Carter. And she's joined by a handsome young man who knows her a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit.
That's right. She used to put a little something on that backside when he was younger.
I'm sure.
You just swaddle him up.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Son, the one and only Bernard Borges, the chairman of the Central Jersey Inner Circle, the CEO of Borges and Associates, a well-known financier, business coach, intellectual thought leader throughout the state of New Jersey.
Who's that?
Who's working on his right shoulder. So he has joined his mom, and we are going to talk all things media. And we are so glad because this is a time when we have got to have media of our own to make sure that we get our message out and tell our story. The person who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, like him or not, he is expert at using media to his advantage. He has turned Twitter into 24 hours worth of offense. And
Yes.
I don't blame him for doing that, right? Whether you like him or not, he is using the tools that are available to him, and he's using them to his advantage. And so we've got to make sure that we use this powerful pen to our advantage first. So we're going to get right into it because we want to hear from Ms. Carter and certainly from her son about a variety of things, but most importantly, media. And so, Ms. Leslie, I would want to welcome you first and foremost
Thank you.
and have you remind our audience what is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution?
The freedom of the press
And freedom of religion, right?
and freedom of religion.
So the reason for that is because the founding fathers of this country saw the need to have a free and open press that would hold our leaders accountable. And so
Absolutely.
they created that First Amendment to make sure that leadership had to be accountable to the people. And it became known over a period of years as the Fourth Estate, the judiciary, the executive branch, and the legislator being the other three. The Fourth Estate was born, and so you would have never had Watergate unless you had Bernstein and Woodward, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
And so over and over again, dynamic people in the press, like Mr. Ellsberg and the Pentagon Papers, we wouldn't have known what the United States Armed Forces were doing unless Daniel Ellsberg came forward. You would not have known that the national security state had everybody's phone number and was tapping into everybody's phone number unless the young man who's living over in Moscow right now, what's his name again?
Oh, yeah. What is his
He
name?
left the country because
Right.
Snowden?
Snowden,
Snowden.
Edward
Yeah,
Snowden.
that's right.
And it was under the protection of the press that Snowden first had a chance to tell his story,
It's true.
and then to be in safety. So I would turn it over to Ms. Scott to ask you a few questions so you could share exactly what 4E News is doing and how you're going to enable all of urban New Jersey to use media in ways that will be to their own benefit.
Hi, Leslie.
Hello there.
We have to say, Leslie and I go back a long way. We go back, quite a few years, and I'm so proud of her and her work, and it's always been very stellar. I don't think you need to say anything. You just let Stan, Mr. Matthews, mark it for you, and the Fourth Estate will be not statewide, it'll be worldwide.
I intend
Definitely agree with
to.
that.
I intend to. So let's get it right.
Let's allow you to share nonetheless. So what's the, tell us a little bit about the name of your business and what your paper does.
You know what I'd like to do? I just have to say, because you sort of left the door open, and I feel I need to say, most of the time when people ask me about the name of the newspaper, they have no clue where the name came from. And that's oftentimes how I start out. But I don't have to do that. You've already done it for me.
Amen.
So I can get right
With
down.
pleasure.
Yeah. I can get right down to brass tacks and just say it's all about our people. It's all about getting the word out. And it's all about putting a positive spin on our community. You mentioned about the man in the White House. He's used his Twitter account to make sure his base is in place.
That's right.
Didn't mean to rhyme, but I did. Well, we want to make sure that our base is in place.
And informed.
And the best way to do that is to keep them informed. It will not be by Twitter. It will not be on Twitter. But it will be through the print medium. It will be through online, because we will be doing an online newspaper as well to complement the print version. And it's important that we get a hold of those millennials, because they don't read newspapers like we do. They'll get their news from all sources, and so we want them to be able to get online and find out what's happening with members of their community. So I have to say, I'm just excited about the prospect of being able to educate and inform our people. And it's more than just reading the paper. It's about being out there in the community and mingling with the folks out there, letting know who we are, putting together workshops and other educational opportunities. And one area that is critical is our youth. We need to make sure that we encourage them, and we encourage them to understand how important the media is and what it brings to our lives, how it opens up doors, and how it provides us, how it educates us. And it's missing. Right now it's missing, not just in New Jersey, it's missing across the country, because we just don't have, we are not in the newsroom. We are not on the networks.
That's right.
We are not on cable. We need to change that.
Well, you're kind of segueing into the next question I wanted to ask you about the unique value of the Fourth Estate News. And I think we want to say the name of your paper regularly because it is such a distinct name, and we want our viewers to begin to use their Googles and find out about the Fourth Estate and stay connected. So tell us, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but give us some pinpointed idea of the unique value of your newspaper.
Well, one of the things that we will continue, what we will do and make sure we do it continuously, is to point out who our leaders are in the community.
Great.
And why they are leaders and what they are doing to keep our community together, to make it cohesive in spite of what's happening in Washington, D.C. and with the Trump party. It's the party of Trump today. We no longer call them Republicans. We call them the party of Trump because that's what they are.
Trumpians.
So we have to make sure that we have something to combat that. We have our own way of getting the word out. And it will be through this newspaper. It will be through our leaders. It will be through educational forums and workshops. And it will be, as I said earlier, through educating our young people, letting them know the value of just knowing and not being shoved aside like they don't matter.
That's right.
And unfortunately, this is not a message that they get in school.
Right.
It-
Many
it-
places for that matter.
Many places. In fact, it's just the opposite. Our children have always been our future. And we have to look at our generations. We have to look at what our generation is right. This is a generation, the youngsters, the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, those that are in elementary school. We have to get them early.
That's right.
We can't wait until they're in middle school or high school because we're not going to impact them in the way that we can while they're youngsters. So one of the things we will be going to elementary schools. We'll be talking to kindergartners and first graders and second graders, and we'll be sharing the newspaper.
That's right.
Not only we'll show them online because they do. Most of the schools have computers now, but we'll also have a hard copy.
Well, I think that's a brilliant idea in terms of introducing the children to journalism and how to research news. Now, all enterprises, no matter whether they're community-based or not, need a revenue source. So why don't you share with our listening audience who would be a good referral for you in terms of helping your paper become the success that it needs to be?
Financially.
Right.
Well, we have several ways of the traditional way, through ads, literally advertising in the newspaper. We have, our rates are very competitive. You'll pay a lot less to advertise in our paper than you will in the local papers that people that publish it don't look like me.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
In addition, we are happy to inform our listeners, or should I say our viewers,
That's right.
that we will be doing a business listing, a directory,
Directory.
so that we can help to ensure that we do business together.
That's
That's
right.
right.
With each other.
That's the only way we're going to build up our community. We have to work together. We have to get away from the mentality that, oh, I can't do business with African Americans or black people because they're not professional. It doesn't work. Whatever they do, it always turns sour. That's not true. And one of the things that I find very frustrating is I've heard it for as long as I can remember, as long as I've been in business. And if it was someone who didn't look like me, they would probably give that person or that business another opportunity. But instead, we turn our back. So this is all part of an education process that we have to make sure that we stay on top of because it matters. We want our communities to be strong for my grandchildren and my grandchildren's grandchildren and obviously for my children.
That's right.
So our work is cut out for us, but it's exciting. And I welcome the opportunity to get into the homes and the laptops and the cell phones
That's right. Every device.
of everyone in the state.
Yeah. So I'm going to just claim here and now that whatever the talk was of the past is not existent anymore. We are onward, forward, and onward. That's what we're doing. So those who want to, as I hear you explaining, a great referral for the Fourth Estate is someone who wants to take out an ad to showcase their business, as well as to contribute to the business directory.
Correct.
In terms of putting a listing in, as well as have you come out possibly and do a feature article, which is another revenue-based offering that can help get your newspaper to where we want it to be. And finally here, our last question that I have, the all-important question, tell our viewers how they can contact you.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
You can catch us. Well, I'm going to put the phone number out there first and foremost. And that number is 609-647-4064. I will repeat it, 609-647-4064. We are redoing our website because we are going statewide, and we want that to reflect that. So we're working on that now. So, and the other way, temporarily, is through our email address, which is info@the Fourth Estate. You spell it out, the Fourth, FOURTH, ESTATE. And our host opened up talking about the Fourth Estate. So that's what you think about when you think of our email. info@thefourthestate.biz. B as in baby, IZ.
That suffix is very important. It's .biz.
Biz and not .com.
That's right. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Any last words you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I just like to say,
Briefly.
I guess I'm one of those people, you get on a mic and it's almost like somebody winds me up.
Yes.
The last word I want to say is I appreciate all of you that are listening tonight, and I look forward to seeing many of you in your churches, because the churches are our base. And some of you we will not see in church, but we'll see you at some of our events. And with that, I look forward to hearing from you, and onward and upward.
Thank you.
Just wanted to take a moment to thank both of you and to share with the audience that on Wednesday, February the 21st, in Trenton at 439 South Broad Street, we will be having Guarantee Our Greatness, our investment conference on a monthly basis, where 4E News, the Fourth Estate News, will be announcing their relaunch as a statewide entity, and one of the speakers that night will be Leslie Carter, and she'll be going into all of the things of the 4E News, including the statewide business directory, including the discounted advertising rates, including the exclusives that will be done with civic leadership, faith-based leadership, political leadership, and business leadership, one of whom is the person sitting to her right, her son Bernard. He will be on the investment panel along with Mr. Sam Collins of Carrot Bars International, teaches us how to save gold to build wealth and share it with others so you can build a fortune. Bernard is going to be talking about Forex. Forex is foreign exchange currency. He will be talking about other investments. Ms. Farida Stokes of Harks Realty will be talking about real estate investment. And Mr. Tony Brooks will be talking about ways to make sure that you protect your wealth. And my partner will be talking about whole person prosperity on that same panel. Ms. Samut Scott, also known as Mama Yoga, will be on that panel.
Awesome.
So we look forward to seeing all of you. If you want any ticket information, go to guaranteetheirgreatness.com or call us at 732-357-5701. Remember, Matthew's broadcast audience, there are two types of people in the world. One are dreamers like you and all of those out there, and dream killers. Embrace the first and run like heck from the second. We've got 30 seconds left. I'm going to give the last 30 seconds to my brother B, Bernard Borges. I know you're looking forward to February 21st. what do you need to say to all of the people who are capable of investing? What would you like to say to them to look forward to guarantee their greatness? I know you'll be moderating the investment panel.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Stan, and thank you, Samut, for the opportunity to speak. And I'll be brief. Obviously, I have to be. Bottom line is, if you are interested, if you're already working for your money and your money is being saved in traditional places, there's a reason why you're still working for your money. My program that I'm going to discuss on February 21st at 439 South Broad Street is going to be speaking about how to take your money and make it work as hard for you as you do for it. And if that is the case, I can retire you in anywhere between 3 to 10 years, in some cases sooner. So the bottom line is, depending on what you put into it, I can get you out of the quote-unquote rat race in a very short period of time, having your money to slave for you or to work as hard for you as you do for it. Thank you.
As Warren Buffett said at the World Economic Forum last week, if your money isn't working for you while you sleep, you will work until you die.
Thank you.
And so Bernard is one for making your money work for you. There are two purposes of the Guarantee Their Greatness Investment Conference. One is to support businesses like Ms. Scott's, businesses like Ms. Carter's, and businesses like Ms. Stokes. The second is to teach you how to invest like millionaires and save like bankers, because bankers do not put money in their savings account.
No, they don't. No commercial banks.
They put it in interest bearing. So as we leave, I wanted to also mention that the directory that 4E News is going to launch will be in partnership with the GEMS Radio and Television Network. I talked to Mr. Moore, the owner.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking further. We get over 3 million visitors to gemsradio.net on an annual basis. Over 300,000 visit gemsradio.net on a monthly basis. So if we put the 4E News directory on gemsradio.net and also have a hard copy version in the newspaper, we will be making the following case from this desk and from this microphone at the Matthews broadcast. Before you shop, go to the gemsradio.net directory and the 4E News directory and find someone in your community so that we can give access to that $452 billion. This is Stan Matthews with Samut Scott, also known as Mama Yoga, the Whole Person Prosperity Broadcast. Good night. God bless.